joining us now here on Birds 365 after a big divisional round win. Jeff, welcome into the Victory Monday Overreaction Monday edition of Birds 365. How you doing this morning, brother?
What do you guys want me to shit on first? Because 150 of Matthew Stafford's 300 yards were straight up garbage. They were down 2 touchdowns. They had to throw.
Well, all right, Jeff coming in swinging from a South Philly basement, baby.
But what happened when the game was on the line? That's what I want to know with Matthew Stafford. That's what I want to know. When it was 16-15, Kyren Williams fumbles. When it was 19-15, Matthew Stafford fumbles. That's
I brought that up. I don't think Kyren Williams is Matthew Stafford's fault.
No, he's not. But that's why the Rams lost the game. I thought the Rams were the better team on Sunday, but they turned the ball over and the Eagles did.
Yeah, I mean, the turnovers were a big part of it. And Kyren Williams, I talked about all the week. I love the guy; he's a good back, but he fumbles.
Yep.
And sure enough, he fumbled in a big spot. And Stafford, was hurried. Look, Baldy point out. But I don't know. All I'm saying is, for the people acting like this is not a big deal, and the number, and you're a stats guy. You can pull stats in any different direction to prove your point. So my stat's going to be the Eagles' 65 net passing yards are the fewest by any team in the playoffs in a decade.
They took a lot of decade. They lost a lot of yards on sacks.
Yeah, and why are they losing a yard?
Jalen holds on the ball too long.
Yes,
clear as day. I mean,
yes. Now, as far as Stafford, you're right, but Baldy put up a clip that I think everybody should watch. It's about It's about Jalen Carter, but all the forget about the sacks, all the pressures. Where Stafford is a tick off, where if Jalen Carter's not there, these are all completions.
In my opinion, if Jalen Carter doesn't sack Matthew Stafford, I actually think the Rams win the game.
Oh, yeah. Well, but even forget about the sacks. How about the last play of the game? That's way off. That's a Bob Uecker high and outside because Carter's right in the space again.
Yeah. And Carter used the same swim move twice. I don't know if you watch those plays again, John.
Yeah, Bo Limmer's not gonna forget Jalen Carter for a while.
He's a difference maker. And honestly, so in the CBS Slack room yesterday, I was asked by one of my editors. He said, "Would you agree with me? The 2 best players on the field yesterday were Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, and then the next 10 were Rams." I said, "I'd throw Nolan Smith in there, but." It's a fair observation.
Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert had a really good game. I don't know what Jalen was thinking when he took the safety. I think his knee was bad. That's why he took the safety. But Dallas was there.
Yeah, well, his knee was bad, and his knee is bad, and that's going to be a story all week. But
he can downplay as much as he wants.
Why? If your knee is bad, okay. Because I know a lot of people, and Zander went to Kellen Moore. Why are you calling that play? I agree. I would have ran the ball. Rams can't stop the run. Just run the ball. So I would have kept it simple. So I agree with that. But if you're calling and you're trusting your quarterback, so you have this whole group saying Jalen never turns it over. Jalen's so secure with the football. So which one is it? Can you trust the quarterback or can't you trust the quarterback? Number one. Number two, if you're a quarterback who's got a banged up knee and you're playing through it, number one, well done. These guys are tough as hell. Well, number two, wouldn't that speed you up and say, all right, I don't have my typical mobility. I'm dropping back in the end zone. I'm going to get this football out.
Yeah, that's what really concerns me about the knee injury. It's the fact that he does hold on to the ball too long, and you're taking the +1 out of that running game. I mean, if you take away the Saquon touchdown run, then I know I'm sounding like everybody else here, but you take that away, Saquon only has I got to get the exact number, but it was 15
65.
yards.
23 carries.
65. No, I meant after the knee injury. Saquon had 106 rushing yards, so 106 minus 28 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So that was really it. But I thought that game changed dramatically after Jalen hurt his knee. Because I'm with you, John. I think they should beat that team by double digits, and they were beating them by double digits late.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it
and
should
that's
have
where Kellen
been.
Moore was driving me crazy, Jeff. He bangs up his knee on a nasty looking tackle, and he's got him running a bootleg on second down. I'm like, what are you running a bootleg for?
Yo,
right
Zander,
there
it was
after he
funny.
bangs his knee up?
I
He's
held
probably
back.
studying. He was probably studying the New Orleans Saints roster on the sideline.
Yeah.
would be my guess.
Oh yeah, part of the next
Yeah.
week's game plan.
Yeah.
But you know what, Zander, to add to your point. So I took a video of Hurts coming off at Big Dom yesterday in the tunnel.
Yeah,
You
he was
should
limping.
have heard the fans. That's not limping. That's walking with cleats on concrete. I said, what are you talking about?
What they want to will him to being healthy?
Yeah, I said, what are you guys, like fairies or something? You want
Yeah,
to
I
make
mean, he's definitely a little, there's
like,
no doubt he's banged up. I mean,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm it's interesting because I covered Adrian Peterson's 2,000-yard year. I remember the Vikings had to beat the Packers in the final week of the season to make the playoffs.
that was when they had 199 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and they did it, and it was a big moment for that franchise. Obviously, their biggest rival. And Christian Ponder probably had his best. He was the starting quarterback, which even speaks more to how good Adrian was that season. But he probably had his best game as a pro in that game. So, the next week they had to go to Green Bay in the playoffs, and everybody was excited. Oh, maybe they're able to pull off the upset. And little bit known, Christian Ponder got hurt in the Week 17 game. Vikings all week are like, he's fine. He'll be ready to go. He'll be
Joe
ready
Webb
to go.
started, right?
He'll be ready. Yeah. Then on the day of the game, Christian Ponder can't go here. Joe Webb's got to start. And obviously I lost by 2 touchdowns or something. It's a big deal, this injury. Now, Jalen's going to play because Jalen's Jalen. But he's not going to be near 100%.
Yeah, he's not going to be himself. You probably won't even see him close to near 100% till if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful with these Twitter doctors, but a lot of them are really good. And by Twitter doctors, I don't mean some fan who thinks he knows.
No, there's actual doctors.
Yeah, I think
actual.
A lot of these actual doctors have experienced what
that's who I'm talking about.
It's become a whole industry to make content as a doctor around sports games.
Yeah, that's the people I'm talking about. And the best is David Chow, who used to be the team physician of the Chargers. And he does a great job. And he did it. A couple other guys did it. Seen whether it's a bursa sac, meniscus, PCL. He's dealing with something. And I've had bursa sac stuff. Man, that's painful. But you're not going to be 100%.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I was talking to a couple players yesterday about the knee injury when the cameras went away. A lot of them thought Kenny was coming in. And I was ready.
Oh, everybody thought Kenny was coming in.
I was ready to tweet Kenny was coming in, and like a couple players told me, and all of a sudden Jalen's like, "Oh, I'm here," and they're like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys were in the stadium. It was tough to tell from the TV broadcast because
Kenny was warming up. Most of the guys.
Jalen was in the tent still, and then they
Kenny was actually in the huddle
about
to go out, and then Jalen just kind of not shoot him off, but he said, "Hey, I'm good," and okay,
yeah.
It was like last minute too.
That's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna practice much all week. They'll probably list him as limited. He's not gonna do much. And we'll see if it's a PCL sprain. That ain't good when it comes to mobility,
especially with a team that runs the ball like they do.
Yeah, and the +1 factor. So that's something that may, when I talk about the Eagles should win the game pretty easily against Washington. I do believe that, but that could affect things if Because I do think, despite what the fans say, I do think Jalen's a very good player. I'm just not going to tell you and lie to you that when he doesn't play well, he is playing well. And he did not play well yesterday. And part of it is certainly post-knee injury, the knee injury. He was playing great in the running game as a +1. As Jeff says, he's done a tremendous job taking care of the football, which is mission number one when it comes to the Eagles right now. So there's a lot of good stuff, but again, 65 net passing yards, not good enough.
I did think it was fun. I did think this was funny though, because I am such an advocate of you don't turn the football over, especially this time of year. You're going to win. Patrick Mahomes didn't throw for a lot of yards. Josh Allen threw for less yards than Jalen did.
Yep.
They didn't turn the ball over. Oh, Lamar outplayed Josh Allen. Yes, he did. But he also fumbled and threw a pick.
Reminds me of Super Bowl 57, John. What quarterback outplayed who, or at least who had more yards in that game?
But who had the fumble that was returned for a touchdown?
Oh, that's true. I never give Jalen. I don't let Jalen off the hook for that. But the point was, Jalen threw for 300+ in that game. Patrick Mahomes threw for 178 or whatever it was and won the game. There's more to it than just yards. But Jeff, where are you on the conversation? Because you're already seeing it. I saw Jeff McClain put up an article this morning on the Inquirer. Jalen Hurts going to have to be better to beat Washington. I don't know, Jeff. I just keep watching this team win. We're now 16-3 this year, a second NFC title game in 3 years. I mean, the guy's a freaking winner. The team is a great roster, no doubt about it, but the guy keeps winning. Where are you on the whole conversation of Jalen has to be better, Jalen doesn't have to be better?
I'm going to reverse this because this is the difference. I think this is the different stance I have to take as, semi-Eagle, semi-national here. Are we really going to believe Jaden Daniels is going to have to throw for 300 and rush for 100 to beat the Eagles? Because that just doesn't happen every week. I mean, he needed to play an amazing game to beat Detroit, and he did against a bad Lions defense. You're coming here now. You're coming to Philly. You're not playing Alex Anzalone, who, by the way, is a good player, but you're not playing a pass rush without
Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson and all those guys they lost in the secondary. I mean, they lost a lot of people.
Yeah, no Aiden Hutchinson in that pass rush. Right. Like Aleem McNeil was neutered because they took away the interior. And look, Washington's got a good offensive line. But
no, Alim's hurt too. He's not.
Isn't Cosme hurt now too?
Cosme's out for the year, torn ACL.
Yeah. So
that's their best offensive line.
Yeah, he is. So now what do you do? It's Jane Daniels is going to get blitzed. Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter are going to get there. Is Jane Daniels going to escape it? Is Jane Daniels going to continue playing like the way he's playing, not turn the football over?
The only difference is, Jeff, I'll say is, you wanted to beat Detroit. You needed to hang 45. All right. That's what you needed to do to beat that team. I don't think you need to do that to beat the Eagles if you're the Commanders. I mean,
I don't think you do either.
You got to be better than, 21 or 24, but
it's funny. They're the only
I think he's the hottest quarterback in football right now.
They're the only team that's really scored 30 against the Eagles over the past 2 months, and they beat them. But the Eagles also got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He was ejected from that game. Jalen Daniels needed pretty much every bit of that game to win it. The Eagles had that game in the bag.
Seconds left.
If Devonta Smith catches a football,
game's over.
Yeah, and the Commanders are probably the 7th seed, and the Eagles may have beaten them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Eagles should win this game. Now, again, the quarterback, if he's not healthy, that complicates it. Even though I think they could beat him with Kenny Pickett.
They should have beat him with Kenny Pickett on Jalen Hurts' game plan.
Yeah, I really do. However, it would certainly be more difficult. But, as far as getting to the Super Bowl, things could not have broken better for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, they really couldn't have.
I agree.
I mean,
the issue is, do you think they could beat the Chiefs or the Bills? Because I'm not ready to say
I think they can beat the Bills. I don't know about the Chiefs. And I guarantee this about the Chiefs because of the way they play. The Chiefs aren't going to run away from them, so they'll be in the game. And anytime you're in the game, you can win the game. Look at how poorly the Rams, again, played yesterday. And they had the ball at the 13-yard line with a chance to win the game.
Yep.
If Bo Limmer could hold up for a play.
with a minute 14 left.
Yeah.
Jalen Kerr sacked him. Like, you look up at the clock, and all of a sudden there's like 40 seconds left because they didn't have a timeout.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how close it is, though. And the style of play. Now, Jake Elliott can make a couple extra points. It's out of reach. Although it's still actually an 8-point game, so either way, but they should have won that game easily.
I'll tell you someone who really loved talking about that game and his perspective on the game. Darius Slay, John. I don't know if you were there when toward the end.
Yeah, Slay's great.
Oh yeah, but like we were talking about Stafford and like how he was thrown in the snow, and I was asking like Slay, could you see the ball? Because it was kind of tough to see. And he said, be honest, he said he was watching Stafford's arm. And that's when he kind of knew. He said, but on the Puka cat, he said, that's a Hall of Fame throw. The whatever. How far was that, John? The 41-yard on the last drive?
Yeah, well, that was a Hall of Fame throw and a Hall of Fame catch too. That was a hell of a catch.
Yeah, and that was off Slay. Slay couldn't believe he caught it.
Man, I was shitting a brick when Puka Nacua caught that.
When he caught that, I thought the Rams were going to win. I'm like, here we go.
On the missed point after by Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott missed 2 extra points. By the way, we don't talk about that enough, how Jake Elliott is so clutch on field goals, but it's an extra point.
Yeah, weird. What a weird game for Jake Elliott.
Listen, I'll take it. The guy still had, 10 points in the game, 3 huge field goals, plus that 37-yarder with the snow beating down. I know everybody's upset about the point afters, but listen, he got a couple clutch points in that game.
Especially where the winds were swirling on that kick. Man, that's you got to give the guy some credit. I'm giving
him credit. I'd rather hit those field goals than the point afters. Obviously, they're worse.
Guys, I'm going to bring this up to you too. We're talking about knee injuries. What knee injury is a bigger concern, Jalen's or AJ's?
Jalen's. I mean, Jalen's the quarterback.
Yeah, AJ's knee injury is a lot worse than what.
He's not himself. But my take there is they're not using the receivers anyway. So
in Jalen's defense, ball was in the breadbasket.
Oh yeah, that drop.
Yeah.
AJ hasn't had a drop all season, so
yeah.
You don't expect him to drop. Now the first one, as I told Zander, I'm not blaming on AJ.
No, I'm not either.
I mean, he threw that thing in the triple coverage. If he catches that,
well, that's a heck of a catch. Also, this is what I thought was interesting: the Witherspoon penalty when he just drilled Devonta Smith. That ball was right on the money, and Smith had it, and that penalty caused him to drop it. I was kind of shocked they did not call pass interference on that.
Well, I know I'm going to piss people off. What is the defender supposed to do?
Well, exactly. I mean, he didn't jump. He didn't jump.
For people that listen to this show, I always tend, when they go back to the Jalen Hurts play against the Commanders and they lose their mind, and that should have been a penalty. I'm like, no, it shouldn't be. And when Patrick Mahomes gets deference calls and they say, that shouldn't be a penalty. Yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be a penalty, but he's a superstar and they're trying to protect him. He led with his shoulder. It was a textbook hit. The receiver drops his head, so you have incidental contact with the helmet. And it's a penalty on the defense. It's like, what are these guys supposed to do? I always default to defenders because I think this league is ridiculous.
Well, this league became glorified arena football.
Yeah.
Like, you literally got national television analysts this morning saying the only reason the Eagles won that game because of snow. That game was playing in a dome. I'm like, but it wasn't in a dome. Like, I'm sorry, not everything needs to be in the dome.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of the opposite. I know obviously the snow helps the Eagles because they're a running team, but the Eagles were the team in this game that if everything went to plan, they were easily going to win the game. The Rams were the team that
Rams played better.
The Rams needed the element, though. They needed something to throw off the game, and the snow created that element, and I think it allowed the Rams to stay in that game.
I cannot even believe anybody projected the Rams would win this game going into it. After watching that first game, after what the whole Rams strategy. See, what happens in the NFL is they played so well against Minnesota, and everybody thinks everything's in a vacuum. Oh, well, they had 9 sacks against Minnesota. So that's going to correlate to the Eagles, who had the best offensive line in the history of the world. And they did get 7 sacks, but that had they had far more to do with the quarterback than the offense.
That's still pretty
Well,
insane.
honestly, though, give
line put up
credit
16
to-
sacks in 2 playoff games.
Give credit to Jared Hurts, though. He talked.
Oh,
the talk.
I love Jared
He
Hurts
wa-
personally.
Yeah,
Love
great
him. I
player.
said it last night. He embraced the pro wrestling heel persona.
Yeah, if you're
He
going to
was
make that
awesome.
comment, you got to embrace it. I liked
Yeah,
it too.
he was
And
awesome.
Jalen
He
Carter
played
even
well.
gave him a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, he played well. Yeah, I love the guy for, hey, talk your stuff. That's what Brandon does. BG. Everybody loves BG.
Warren
talk your
Sapp
shit,
did that
back it up.
for a decade.
Yeah. John Randall, guy I covered for a long time. Nobody talked more shit than John Randall. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, John, were you in the Saquon scrub when Saquon was really laughing about going to the principal's office yesterday?
Oh yeah, I was talking. I was not in the scrum because I've given up on Saquon scrums.
You gotta learn to get behind me there and
the scrums.
Well, no, I don't. First of all, I don't want to be in the scrum. Number one, if I want to talk to him, I'll just go up to him afterward. He's very engaging. He's always willing to help, as long as it's 1 question, 2 questions. I'm not dealing with those morons, and they're. I mean, the scrum people are just. I don't want to call them the worst people in the world, but they're in the top 10.
I think the scrum people were very upset when Saquon gave me the quote that he was, when I asked him about Van Buren's record, and he said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I looked it up," and and I said, "Do you know how many he had?" And he said, "Yeah, 196." And I said, "He did against the Rams," and he's like, "No, I didn't know that." And then the next couple, and the cameras were like, well, why do you say that? I'm like, because you guys don't ask questions or good questions. You're asking Saquon, how's it feel playing the snow?
When the NFLPA All-Pro team came out, and he got this one TV guy saying to Zach Bond, "Oh, you didn't make All-Pro," and poor Zach's going, I didn't make All-Pro. He's like disappointed, and I had to correct him and say, don't worry about it. It's not the real All-Pro team.
Yeah, it's not the real All-Pro team.
And sure enough, he was first team All-Pro. And I'm like, yeah, come on, dudes. Don't ask these questions if you don't know. But anyway.
Yeah,
guys, looking ahead to this game. Wait, I want to ask you, Jeff, because John McMullen used a word I didn't expect to hear this morning. He said the Eagles are going to trounce the Commanders next week. And I'm like, holy shit, I did not expect to hear that. Jalen Hurts banged up. If he can't run in that game as well, how much does that change? You got Quinyon Mitchell banged up. Nakobe Dean is out. A.J. Brown's banged up. Like, you got some guys on this team that are banged up. Obviously, the biggest one being Jalen Hurts. Jeff, how do you look ahead just at that game right now? And if Jalen Hurts can't run, what kind of element does that provide or change? You look at a super chat here. Trucker Bean says, going into this NFC Championship game, is an injured Hurts better than a healthy Pickett or Tanner? Obviously, they're not going to play one of those guys, but if you take away Jalen's legs, man.
Jalen Hurts is a top 7 quarterback in football.
I know, but if you take away his legs,
I don't care.
I'm not saying they're going to Pickett or Tanner. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just
Patrick
asking.
Mahomes plays with an
what
ankle.
Does losing the legs mean for the game?
It's big, but you can still win a football game.
By the way, no offense, don't bring Tanner into that conversation. Tanner's not playing, people. If Jalen
doesn't want to hear about Tanner McKee.
Backup quarterback is the most popular athlete in this city.
Well, no, the third string quarterback.
But like in the history of the Eagles, Joe Pisarcik for Ron Jaworski and Randall Cunningham for Ron Jaworski, and then Bubby Brister, Jim McMahon, whoever for Randall, Ty Detmer for Rodney Peete, Coy Detmer for Ty Detmer, Coy Detmer for Donovan, AJ Feely for Donovan. I'm going on and on, people. Mike McMahon for Donovan.
Mike McMahon. Oh, that's a good
Donovan. Everybody's better than Donovan. The greatest freaking playoff quarterback this team's ever had. But
that might be Jalen now.
Yeah. Michael Vick for Kevin Cobb. I could go on and on. Nick Foles for whoever. Carson.
I'm with you.
Nate Sudfeld for Nick Foles. I forgot that. I'll never, ever let fans off the hook for that. You actually thought Nate fucking Sudfeld was going to win you. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
God.
Jeff Kerr.
I'll never, ever let him off the hook for that. I have the receipts.
Well
Can
done.
we win the game next week if Jalen can't run the ball, Jeff?
Yes, because
The Eagles can win the game with Kenny Pickett.
Because I think the Eagles have the best defense in football. It's no matter. And Zander, you pointed out 2 key injuries.
Yeah,
everybody's got injuries. They don't have Sam Cosmi. Sam Cosmi's their best offensive lineman.
And their O-line ain't that good.
No.
that's huge.
Who, by the way, would be number 6 in Philadelphia. And I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
He's their best offensive lineman, and he's on an interior offensive lineman, which means get ready for the Jalen Carter show again.
Yeah, Jalen Carter's going to wreak some havoc next week. Oh, and I know we're concerned about this Eagles pass offense and their 65 net passing yards. I'm pretty confident they're going to have a lot more than 65 on Sunday.
Well, I am a little worried about Jalen's injury, but I think he's going to play through it, and he's not going to be 100%. I feel comfortable saying that. So it might limit them a little bit in the running game, typically from where they typically are. But you still have Saquon having an historic season, and he's hyper-focused. You mentioned Steve Van Buren. He's hyper-focused on Terrell Davis's all-time record.
And he knows he's 134 away.
Yeah. And he's got 1, certainly, potentially 2 games to do it. So it'd be hard to imagine if they make it to the Super Bowl that he doesn't break that record. Honestly, it might be hard to imagine him not breaking that record against the Washington Commanders, because 134, is it, Jeff? That's like a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, the way he's been playing. Like, if you had told me Saquon was going to have 200 yards on Sunday, I wouldn't have been shocked just based on the first matchup. But history showed when you had a 200-yard rusher in the regular season, you played that same team in the playoffs. No one's ever gotten 200 yards.
Yeah, I brought up Adrian had a big day.
Or 100 yards. Sorry, not even 200.
I brought up that the Adrian Peterson season.
He only had 99 that game.
I think he had 200 against the Packers twice in the regular season, and they finally slowed him down a little bit in the playoff game. But that had more to do with Joe Webb. And yeah, look, I mean, the plus one, and you saw it yesterday. I mean, Jalen's touchdown run kind of set the tone early. It is a big deal, the plus one. That does help. Even as good as Saquon is, that does help. That does help him. So to not have that will make it a little bit more difficult for him. But, man, that offensive line. I see people shitting on him because of the sacks today. I'm like, I don't know what people watch. I mean, that offensive line is just – look at the 2 Saquon touchdown runs. Look at them.
Yeah.
There was only one play. Pass protection? I mean.
Well, sure. But, if the quarterback's holding on the ball.
I'm going to go by what Mandy Dickerson was telling me yesterday. It was pretty much – it was hard to get your foot planted. It was hard to – he said it kind of felt like they were on skates at times yesterday.
Yeah, you could tell the way the receivers were running.
A different environment. He never played in the snow. He said it was intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell the receivers couldn't run crisp routes at all. I think that threw off Matthew Stafford in a big way. So there's no doubt that was. Let me ask you guys this about Quinyon Mitchell. You guys were in the locker room after the game. What can you tell me? I know we don't have any official injury updates yet, and we probably won't get that early in the week.
Yeah, you're not getting that till Wednesday.
Yeah, you're not getting that early in the week.
You may not even get that on Wednesday.
What's your guys' early feeling, though? You feel like he's going to play? Does it feel like he could be out next week? Like, it's tough to get a gauge on where he is. Obviously, he went out in the first quarter and never came back in the game, so people assume it's a bad injury. You think he'll be back next week?
John, you were there.
He took a shower. He's out. He said he's fine. He says he should be fine.
He tried to get back in yesterday, from what I was told.
Yeah. So, look, it's weird that they held him out. I get it. But, I mean, typically if he's injured, he's not going to be taking a shower and dressing in front of all the media. So that was a very good sign. But it is strange that they held him out. If being precautious, other than having confidence in Isaiah Rodgers, who had, he got beat, but I think he held up pretty well.
He was in position on that one. I thought he was going to pick it off.
Yeah, he should have. Actually, he should have picked that
fumble
one.
recovery.
Demarcus Robinson took it away from him. He actually had it.
Marcus Robinson had a really good game.
I don't know if any other player either that recovered that fumble would have taken it as far as Isaiah did. He took that thing. He picked that thing up off the ground and put on the Jets, man. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Most people in the snow would fall on that thing.
Yeah, he had a nice spin move to get loose too.
Yeah,
he picked it right up and spun and got an extra basically 40 yards with the spin move. And the Eagles, unfortunately, couldn't convert because Lane Johnson jumped off sides on the tush push, which was disappointing. But that, he did blinch. So, I mean, for all the officials are against the Eagles, he did blinch. So it was the right call. They made it tougher than it needed to be, but yeah.
Quote of the day yesterday was Josh Sweat. Quote of the day. He had a couple quotes of the day. So Josh Sweat, there's a couple of us were talking to him and we're asking about the field. He goes,
"He said he'd rather play in Brazil.
I'd rather play on that shitty Brazil field than do this again."
Yeah, shitty Brazil field.
Oh, he was going off, and then we're just asking follow-up questions, and then all of a sudden I decided to pivot and ask him about Jalen Carter, and he just goes, "He's a bad, you know what?"
I know, Jalen Carter, man, dude, because everybody's having issues, and Jalen's just like, "Oh, all right, I'm just gonna."
Yeah, he said everybody's like slipping and sliding, and he said Jalen Carter, he just does a spin move, and he's sacking.
Yeah, he said something about it cleaning his damn feet every play. Josh Sweat.
Oh yeah, he said, "You guys see me clean." I'm just like shaking my head, like, here we go. This is
no, a lot of shits from Josh. No one wants to play in that shit. So
yeah, it was entertaining, and
well, that's what people do because you have these narratives, and I say it too. And look, the Eagles are much more equipped to play in the weather than the LA Rams. But I mean, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, all these guys, they're all, Josh is from Virginia, played at Florida State, Georgia guys. They don't want to play in this shit. Devontae Smith hates it.
Saquon hates the cold too. He won't tell you.
Well, everybody hates it. But, some people are better prepared for it. The Rams deserve credit for that because they did hold up better than I thought in the weather. But the bottom line is,
if they don't fumble the ball, it's a different game.
But the bottom line is, at the biggest moment, they did fumble the ball twice.
Yep,
and it did affect them. But even though I thought they handled it better. Where are you on the Sean McVay is overrated scale? Because I got shit on for that.
Sean McVay's overrated?
Yes.
I said he is.
Yeah. I'm the only one. I'm on an island. He doesn't play to win. It's like, why are you running? First of all, it's and Shanahan, who I love, so people can't say him, or it can be Kevin O'Connell, it could be Matt LaFleur. When the play action stuff, because I've asked them this question, I've asked those kinds of coaches this question over the years, because it makes no sense to me. When you're down 10 points, 2 scores, and everybody knows you're throwing the football, why do you keep the play action mechanics? Because a couple times Stafford's dropping back. Stafford's dropping back in these play action mechanics. He turns around and here's Jalen Carter right in his face. It's like, what are you doing, dude? You're putting the quarterback in an untenable situation. Now they've told me, well, it's timing of the play. Then dump the fucking play and go to something else.
You know what bothers me? I think about McVay. It's he'll blame the defensive. He'll blame somebody else besides himself on that.
Taking that field goal was egregious.
Oh, I don't know why he did that.
How do you watch? How do you watch Dan Quinn the night before? Maybe you didn't watch him. You're on the road against a better, more talented team and tough environments.
Well, Dan Quinn's got what.
Yeah. You got to take chances to win that game. You have to.
I thought maybe the snow had an element there, John, because points are a premium in a game like that. I thought maybe settle and live to see another down.
What? I thought that worked for the Eagles because they had the lead. I thought the Rams would have been more aggressive.
I'm the old guy. I'm not supposed to be the open-minded one. If I hear points are the premium, yeah, they are. That's why you want 7 and not 3, because you're not going to win with fucking 3. That's it drives me insane, these coaches. So yeah, that's why I think
I got upset yesterday when I was watching Ravens Bills. That's what took me so long to get out of there yesterday. I was watching Ravens Bills because I had to do my column for Sunday. And you're hearing people in the fourth quarter go, "This is what happens when John Harbaugh's chasing points." What are you talking about? They were down by a lot.
Well, I got that from my buddy Ed Kratz early in the game with Jake Elliott. He missed an extra point. The Eagles are going to be chasing points. I'm like, no, they're not. Maybe in the fourth quarter, they're just going to kick the next extra point. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Points are at a premium, chasing points. That's just tell me you don't know what the modern NFL is.
John, by the way, you said the best thing today, which I think you probably should tweet. This is why the Eagles are going to beat the Commanders, because Vic Fangio is Vic Fangio, and it's a rookie quarterback. He'll have something.
Yeah.
It may not work all the time, but he'll have something.
Yeah, I trust Vic. I don't trust many people, but I trust Vic.
John, the only thing I'd push back on what you said about the modern NFL is we're consistently watching this team defy everything about the modern NFL on the
well, so is Kansas City, but
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, Pat, everything's set up for the pass game. Here we are with a 3,000 yard.
Because again, people don't understand the mindset behind it, and I constantly try to explain it, but people shut up because they want to be right, and that's you can win a million different ways. How many times have I said this, Zander? What you're trying to do and what the Eagles were trying to do in the offseason, trying to evolve the offense, is increase your margin of error. Right now, again, they're 13 yards away from losing. Now, people can spike the football because they won, and they can say Jalen Carter and Saquon Barkley because they won, and I get it, and that's what people do. But you're this close to losing a game you should have won by 3 touchdowns. This close.
I give the Eagles a ton of credit for just not beating themselves. And that's why the Ravens are not playing the Chiefs on Sunday. Because I'm still convinced.
But that's an exact point. But that's kind of Mark Andrews and the opposite. Like, you're sitting there. All right, who are you going to trust in Baltimore more than Mark Andrews? More than Mark freaking Andrews? He fumbles and he drops at the easiest 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I got really upset when people were just roasting this guy to no end. I'm like, didn't this guy just save someone's life this year or last year?
Well, anybody criticizes Mark Andrews doesn't know much about football. But the point is, these are human beings. You might have, Saquon's having one of the great NFL seasons of all time.
He dropped a pass this year to lose a game.
He dropped a pass to lose a game.
Devontae Smith did it.
Devontae Smith. I've never seen Devontae Smith.
No, I never seen him drop a pass.
I did now, right up until I did.
A.J. Brown didn't have a drop all season until Sunday.
Yeah. I don't get why people don't understand what the thought process is behind.
Because there are no drops in Madden.
I hope that's not.
I'm telling you, the 3 things that have spiked the NFL's ratings, and I hate it to no end. You guys ready? Madden, because everybody judges someone off a Madden rating. Fantasy football, which I play.
I hate Madden ratings.
The
players love them. That's the problem. Yeah. The players love them.
Fantasy football, because everybody looks at certain stats like yards, and the all-inclusive gambling.
Well, yeah, the gambling. Because I'm not a gambler, but gambler, you should gamble and gamble at BetUS.
Yeah, I'm not a
But
gambler either.
personally,
but I'm not going to say you're a bad
yeah.
person.
Well, I don't want
I don't care.
to. First of all, when you cover games, I don't want to be rooting for somebody to lose because I got $50
can't.
on the game.
You got to remain objective as a reporter. Yeah.
So, but anyway, from the standpoint of and I'm glad. Well, the Eagles won, so I can't even go on X or any other platform now to watch any game because all anybody does is complain about the officiating. It's like, what are you people even watching these games?
Hey,
what did you guys think of the Mahomes thing? Because that's being talked about everywhere.
Fun stat. You guys know the Chiefs there have been more penalty yards called against the Chiefs than anybody else in the regular season over the last 7 years?
Clearly, you're wrong, Jeff. Clearly,
the officials
you're wrong.
help. Oh, I know. You know what's funny? Everybody loves my stats when they favor you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
Well, it's the same thing with PFF rankings. They always last. Oh, PFF is so stupid. Hey, Jordan Mailata is the #1 rated offensive player in the NFL. Oh, that's freaking great, man.
Yeah. My favorite was Jeff. Thanks for pointing out these stats. They're really proving my point.
So you guys do not buy that the officials are in Patrick Mahomes'
No,
pocket?
I do not.
All right. I do not. I didn't even think it was that big of a deal in the game. I watched the
First
guy.
of all,
I watched
that's not why
down,
the
make
Chiefs
a
won.
throw, going to the ground, a touchdown throw in a playoff game. I'm like, yeah, that guy's pretty good.
First of all, they protect superstars. As I brought, there's literally a Jordan rules phrase for a reason.
Right.
Superstars get deference, no question about it. In every
Jordan
sport.
had a push off on Byron Russell.
Oh my God, it's one of the worst push offs of all time. Yeah, one of the worst push offs of all. So obvious. You're completely right. LeBron. I just bring up Greg Maddux in baseball. He got 6 inches outside. Nobody else got because he had this pinpoint control. Superstars get deference, but you got to get to that level. How do you get to that level? You get to that level by dominance.
I still remember the time. This is like 2007. This is when LeBron was starting to get the Jordan rules. LeBron drove the lane against the Sixers, and Samuel Dallenberg, of all people, blocked him to win the game.
Samuel was a great shot blocker.
Yeah, but it's Samuel Dallenberg. Heaven forbid LeBron James can't lose a game being blocked by Sam. Sixers were in the locker room. They called him back out. And LeBron got to hit 2 3 throws and won because he.
I mean, something I don't recall that game, but something that you shouldn't do that. But the part where and they didn't even call the penalty where Patrick Mahomes stopped instead of going out of bounds, and he was trying to bait the defender.
I would have decked him.
By the way, I think that's brilliant.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett has the greatest fake of all time. They banned it in college football.
Yeah. And take advantage of it. If some moron's gonna take a shot at you, get 15 free yards. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Also, the Texans, what loser energy from DeMeco Ryans. Oh, when I say we had to play everybody, we had to play everybody to beat the Chiefs. I'm like, yeah, and that's why you lost.
Yeah. And I just said it about it, but here's the thing, like Witherspoon's hit, which was textbook in my mind. Everybody's like, that is the most vicious hit. He tipped his shoulders exactly the way they.
Yeah, it wasn't helmet to helmet.
It's exactly the way they teach you to do it, but Devontae, it's not Devontae's fault either. He dropped his helmet. It's just they're human beings. It's just
a bang play.
Yeah. But I say the same thing about everybody. Jalen Hurts in Washington, Patrick Mahomes. Do I think that's a penalty? No. The Patrick Mahomes plays. That's what the NFL calls. They hate the legislation. I say it all the time.
Do you think Frankie Louvu's hit on Goff Saturday night was dirty?
No.
I didn't because it was off a pick. I'm like, Goff, get out of the way.
No, it's a penalty.
I think Frankie Louvu is a game changer. People hate him, and I get it. And I'm
I'm
not here to argue whether he's dirty or not. That's not my point.
Oh, you're talking about
his plays on the football field have impact on games every time he plays. He's a hard hitter, man, and he impacts games.
real quick though, you're talking about the block after the interception. That
Yeah.
should have been a penalty, but it's not. I don't think it's a bad hit, but the NFL made that a rule that a quarterback is now a defensive player after he throws an interception. So it should have been a penalty. But just because Frankie probably doesn't know the rule, it typically in years ago, well, if you're going to try to tackle somebody, it's your free game. We're going to kill you. You can't do that anymore. So they should have called a penalty.
He blew golf up.
Yeah,
it was funny. I kind of
that's
laughed.
what in the old days. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, right.
But you're not allowed to do that anymore. So I have to correct.
They go above and beyond to protect the quarterback.
Yeah,
they really do.
But they should not when they're runners. They're supposed to be runners.
John, I could see you on Sunday shaking your head every time the crowd got upset when Hurts is getting hit out bounds like he's a runner.
Oh, it drives me crazy. You know what? The other one, remember where Devontae hurt his wrist a little bit? Jalen was outside the pocket and he got pushed down by the defender, like right in the wide open. Which game was that? He got pushed down and he hurt his wrist a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that.
Everybody's losing their mind because they saw a receiver get hit in the open field. It was
that was a Pittsburgh game, right?
Yes. He was inside 5 yards. Hurts was outside the pocket. Completely legal play. It's what they teach you to do. Again, the sport is so over-legislated, nobody knows the freaking rules, so they lose their minds.
Well, the content creators, they know everything. They know every rule in football. So they get 30.
But people that know, I never complain about officials. Never. Are bad calls going to go against your team? Yeah, they're human beings.
Oh, John, you just saw Saquon's fingers on Sunday. He got his fingers caught in a helmet.
Dude, he takes some hard hits, Saquon Barkley.
He got hurt again yesterday.
He takes some freaking
hits. That's what he was showing. Like couple of there were bruises, but they were deep cuts.
How about the one play in that game? Now, I did not understand what the hell the Rams were doing on defense. It was 3rd and 14 and their own 4. Saquon wanted off the field. He tried to come off, and they put him back on. Then they throw a screen pass to him, and he picks up 18 yards. I'm like, why are the Rams sending 6 there or 5 there and blitzing on that play, leaving the whole field?
Jalen was going to get rid of it.
I mean, I don't understand that, though. I mean, you could have easily sat back and prevented that first down. You would have flipped the field, got the ball back. I thought that was just a terrible play by the Rams.
Yeah, they got caught. Sometimes you get caught. But that was the best, by the way, Saquon has looked as a receiver in, I don't know, 10 weeks or so.
Yeah, he doesn't get that many opportunities.
No, so they got him involved a little bit. But yeah, anytime you run for 2,000 yards, you're going to be banged up.
John,
and he's banged up.
Is this the greatest season for running back?
It's starting to get there. Now, if you take the Rams out, maybe not. But
yeah, but they're part of the conversation.
The Rams were. I've never seen anything like it. So the 460 yards rushing.
500 total yards.
500. I think the number is, it was 302 in the first game, and yesterday was 232. So 534.
There was a stat I dug up. The most total yards against an opponent in a season, and this is counting the playoffs. It's like Saquon. It's like Derrick Henry. I think one's OJ. And I think the stat, Jamal Lewis was in it. And I'm like, I just realized something. Henry and Lewis, 3 games. Saquon did it too. Because the Eagles don't play the Rams. They were divisional games, and they play them in the playoffs.
If you have, 460 yards and 534, what do we say, yards from scrimmage, that's a decent little season for a change of pace back. in 2 games.
So Saquon, here's the stat today. Saquon has the most 60-plus yard rushing touchdowns for a running back in NFL history with 6. 4 are against the Rams. The all-time record is 4 in a season, and he did it against one team.
I'll tell you what, I don't like to criticize players because I don't think it's I criticize players all the time.
Yeah,
I don't
I was
like
gonna
that.
say, what are you talking about?
I don't like to shit on players because I know they're trying hard. I know I don't like to completely shit on players. But my God, how is that Roseboom? How is he a starting linebacker?
I don't know. Christian Roseboom's not that good.
My God, I mean, Saquon's great, but I mean, after the first game, you don't have a better plan. You don't have a somewhat plan. Like I would have went into that game and said, "All right, Jalen Hurts has got to beat me. Got to." After what went on the first time.
And Jalen had a good game that first game too. It just went unnoticed because of what Saquon did.
I mean, I would have put 8 people in the box to stop him from getting 200 yards. Anything.
A fun stat. Saquon had 170 yards rushing when they put 8 in the box the first time.
Yeah, well, that the problem with that, and that's what the Rams would say is, well, then if he breaks one, he's gone. Like if he doesn't break one, he's not gone.
Yeah,
Like who's gonna chase him down? Roseboom. I mean, yeah,
I really wanted to just kind of get him to laugh about something, and I didn't when he was saying about Van Buren's record, and we're asking him a couple questions, and I wanted to do a follow-up with, are you sure it was because you wanted that record because you knew you had 255 against the Rams at first? I knew I would have got an answer, but I wanted to get a smile out of him or something.
I mean, I think Troy Reeder was playing. I don't know why Christian Roseboom is playing, but
isn't Troy Reeder hurt?
Yeah, he is hurt. But boy, I mean,
that was not a good defense they played on Sunday.
Well, the front is very good.
Well, the front's very good, but I mean, in totality.
Yeah, I thought they were fine except for the linebackers. I knew going in, Zander can tell you. I mean, it's just not a good matchup for them because they're so undersized up front. But I knew the offensive line was going to beat the what out of them. But
you are right about the path to the Super Bowl. It feels like the toughest team that they're going to play was the team they played in the wild card.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you guys are a little bit underselling this Commanders team. They got the hottest.
I'm not underselling.
They have a coach who's willing to go for it on 4th downs.
Yeah, the Commanders have
absolutely nothing.
That's the difference.
Yeah, let me get it out. They have absolutely nothing to lose. They have exceeded expectations by every metric. They have nothing to lose in this game. The Philadelphia Eagles have everything to lose.
The Commanders have everything to lose too, because you're in the conference championship game now.
Well, I'm just saying, if you just lined up the talent from 1 to 53, the Packers are probably more talented than the Commanders and the Rams. Doesn't mean they're playing like it. I agree what you just said. If you asked 100 NFL fans, who's the better coach? Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, or Dan Quinn? Every single one of them would say Dan Quinn's the worst of that lot.
And Dan Quinn's a really good coach. I'm not underselling
and
that.
I agree with your premise, Zander. He gives them a much better opportunity to win than Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur.
But to me, it's Jaden Daniels. Look, people don't want to hear this, but you got to put him on the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen scale right now.
No,
that is how well he's playing.
Yeah, I think he's playing better now than he even played.
If the Commanders go to the Super Bowl, Jaden Daniels will be the reason.
I love Jaden Daniels. I love him, but Vic is going to figure it out, man. He is going to. I'm not saying he's not going to make plays because he's going to make plays, but Vic is going to figure it out. and he's going to throw some shit at him that he
Jaden
hasn't
Daniels,
seen.
though, regardless of what happens Sunday, he is going to be a pain in the panned ass in this.
Oh, yeah, man.
I agree. I'm not taking this team lightly. I don't think it's a trounce game. Every time we play Washington, it seems to be close. I brought up last year, Jeff. I mean, I know it's a little different, obviously, last year. You go to overtime with Sam freaking Howell.
Twice.
I feel like every time we play this team, it's close. And now you got a team that has absolutely nothing to lose.
Who just lost their best offensive line.
Now that's a big factor. Jalen Carter could destroy this game.
But the Eagles quarterback also is on a bum knee, so
that's true too. There you go. It's another big
look,
factor.
I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think Eagles are going to trounce them. I could be dead wrong on that, but maybe because I think so highly of Jaden Daniels.
I think very highly of
The
him.
last 2 times the NFC Championship game was here, I think it was 38-7.
The Eagles blew them out.
And what was the score?
31-7.
31-7.
Oh, by the way, 49ers fans are still crying about that. Well, then don't have your backup tight end block Hassan Reddick.
Well, that's, by the way, that's Kyle Shanahan. Play action.
Yeah. I was going to say, I set you up on that.
Yeah. And people say, how do you do that? They do it all the time. The design of the play is not for the tight end to hold up. The tight end, the point of the play is for the tight end to get a chip to slow him down a tick, so you get the look you want in play action. And when it works, it's a thing of beauty.
You know, John, I think I said this too last week, and I wanted to kind of reiterate this point about the home field advantage thing, because I said, remember I said I don't think the Eagles could go in the Lions and beat them in Detroit, but then I kind of corrected myself. I said, well, in fairness, the Lions lost both their games this year in Detroit. They lost on Saturday in Detroit.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if you're the best team in football all year and you lose, it's going to be a disappointment. And obviously, the best team doesn't always win. The New York Giants won twice, and they were not the best team with Eli.
No, they beat a 15-1 Packers team that should have blew them out.
Yeah, and then they beat the best Patriots team of all, which did not win.
I hope Eagles fans really enjoy this run and enjoy.
Oh, they will not if they lose.
But this is why I say this.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because
100%.
you are one win away from going to your second Super Bowl in 3 years. The Chiefs are one win away from going for 3 in a row. Eagles, Chiefs could be this generation. Steelers, Cowboys, Patriots, Colts, Chiefs, Bills. How do you slice it? Playing the same team 2 Super Bowls in 3, that's legendary.
Who's got more talent, Eagles or the Chiefs?
Eagles.
I agree with that.
Eagles. Chiefs have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's what I think the difference.
Right. They have the great equalizers. All right, so give them credit for that. I do think they're talented on defense. That George Karlaftis, he was all over the
George
field.
Karlaftis is great. Oh, Trent McDuffie.
Dude, did you see him in that game, that divisional? Jeff, you couldn't throw on him.
He's like that all year, too. He's insane.
McDuffie's great. By the way, the best Chiefs defender by far is Chris Jones.
Oh, my God. Dude, 310 coming off the edge in that game for a sack. I'm like,
I'll tell you what, if Jalen Carter becomes what Chris Jones was in his prime, oh man, Eagles.
I think Chris Jones is still the best defensive tackle in the NFL, and
he is. But I mean, prime Chris Jones was like 2018, 2019. That was so much fun to watch.
Wait, so all right, let me ask you guys this. I mean, you both feel good about the Commanders game. I feel pretty good about it. Would you, in a hypothetical Super Bowl, I had people last night tell me they'd rather get the rematch than the Bills. And I'm like, are you crazy? I'd rather play the guy who doesn't have any hardware than the guy who's going for a three-peat.
Yeah. And plus, you know how much pressure is going to be on the Bills to win the Super Bowl? The Bill. Keep in mind, this is the Bills here.
I'd rather play the team with the coach that can't navigate 13 seconds properly.
Yes. I'd rather play the Bills. I mean, it'd be a fun. It's going to be a fun Super Bowl, regardless if it's Eagles, Chiefs, Eagles, Bills. I'd rather take the Bills.
Yeah, give me the Bills all day long, twice.
And you know what? If Josh Allen wins it, good for him. He'll deserve it because
he's willing that roster, man. He's willing that roster to victory. He's a tremendous player.
You know what I love about what the Bills did? They just shifted their entire philosophy and said, okay, we put up the numbers, we do this, this wasn't working. Let's make Josh more conservative because he's a good quarterback, and we'll make other teams beat themselves. And it's worked.
It has worked.
And
No doubt
Josh
about it.
is an incredible football player.
Well, and they finally got a running game with Cook. So,
Yeah. And not even Cook. It's like Ray Davis too. And Ty.
Well,
Jones.
yeah,
Got a couple different guys back there.
Yeah, they got Dalton Kincaid at tight end.
But I mean,
Offensive
for years
line's
they couldn't run the ball at all. It's like Devin Singletary. Yeah, they couldn't run the ball.
Oh, here, Devin
Except for Josh Allen.
He's a great fantasy football player.
Except for Josh Allen. Yeah, I mean, and look, it's not the Eagles' fault, man. But you know, this is falling into place nicely.
You know what? It's not Notre Dame's fault they're in the national championship.
That's
either.
right. That's right. And I'm rooting for him. Marcus Freeman, don't let me down.
He's got an uphill battle. He's not the more talented team in that game.
No. And he lost his left tackle, by the way, speaking of.
And he was banged up too. There's a lot of guys that are banged up on that Notre Dame team. It could be ugly. It could be.
Yeah. I don't know. That Notre Dame team fights, man. They got a lot of fight in them. I like that. We'll see how that game goes. Jeff,
they got 2 first-round picks who are out, by the way. Benjamin Morrison is going to be a first-round pick. And I think Mills, their big defensive end tackle, he's going to be a first-round pick.
He's going to be close.
Yeah. So, and they don't have those guys. They're really, really banged up.
Yeah, it's tough to overcome.
Yeah.
Especially when you're facing a $30 million roster.
But I don't want Chip Kelly to win that thing. I don't want Ryan Day to win that thing.
I can't stand Ryan Day. I can't stand Chip Kelly. I really can't stand Will Howard. So
I don't know anything about Will Howard, but
I told you my story.
He's got a good arm, Jeff. He's got a good arm. I kind of
John knows my story.
You're a Penn State guy. You don't like any.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they let the other kid leave.
Al McCourt's better than him.
Yeah. Al McCourt, Sancho's prep kid.
Yeah, exactly. I hated that. Like,
and he set records at Syracuse. He had a great season.
He's good. Is he going to draft Zander? You would probably know this.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I think he might be staying in college.
I mean, good for him. Like, I mean, I was so happy for that kid. Like when he was just crushing Syracuse this year. I'm like, he got blamed for Ohio State losing last year, and that was
he did declare for the draft, by the way.
Okay. He might go higher than people think.
Well, there's no quarterbacks, so they're all going to get pushed up.
Yeah,
it's not a great quarterback class.
Drew Hauer and his terrible decision making might have made the first round.
He would have been a first round pick. I'm convinced of that. He would have been a first round pick.
All right, Jeff, we got to run, man. I want to get your final thoughts real quick on the divisional round game yesterday. It was an iconic snow game. Jeff, a couple more thoughts, final thoughts here from you, and then we'll let you run, brother.
I mean, I think, you know, it's hard to have so many takeaways from this game because of the snow. So many things change. About today.
I feel like we said that a lot this year, like every game, like the Brazil shitty field. Now we got the snow shitty field.
Just what a weird year.
It is such a strange year. It's such a strange
and
year.
It's going by quick too. Like I can't believe
that I don't agree with.
I'm with you 100% on that.
I am out of gas. I am Slay. I need that. I need Christian.
You need the tank?
Gas guy.
John needs a bye week before the Super Bowl.
No, I'll tell you what's been a long year coaching. It's been a long year coaching a basketball team. That's what's been a long year. This year's going by quick.
It is not going by quick. It is not.
You know what it is? Since now I do baseball, I'm kind of ingrained in the whole 162 grind.
Well, baseball's a grind.
Baseball's
it's a grind. Trust me. You're in like July, you're trying to hype up a Yankee series because your team's 30 games.
Well, it's easy to hype up a Yankee series. When you got to hype up a Brewers series, that's when you're in trouble.
Right. In June. Yeah, you like that when I was like, the Brewers are second best team in the National League. You were like,
Brewers yeah, the Brewers.
NFL's got all these sports leagues beat. All right, Jeff, thanks for joining, brother. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully after a big NFC title game win for the Birds. Talk to you then, brother.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
There's Jeff Kerr joining us here on Birds 365. Great stuff from Jeff Kerr today.
Yeah, Jeff was bringing it, man. I like when Jeff.
He was. He was a little fired up today.
That backup quarterback rant. That was one for the ages.
Yeah, that was good. That was good from Jeff Kerr. So big shout out to him. And I thought he had good takeaways on the game, Johnny Mac. We just have 27 or so minutes left in the game. We got a great crowd of people in here. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're watching now, hit that like button. If you're watching after the fact, I appreciate you being here and watching later. Hit that like button for us. We appreciate that. Johnny Mack, I'm going to stay here with all these people in here. I don't think there's a need to take a break. I'll hit the commercial break at the end of the show. But I want to continue talking about this game, Johnny Mack. I'm surprised that you have the take, honestly, about next week's game. It doesn't make me feel like we're not going to win, but I just think I think it's going to be one of those games, man. I think it's going to be a close game, and that dude Jaden Daniels gives you a chance. And if you add in Jalen Hurts' injury, Jaden Daniels isn't banged up like that. He's going to be using his legs to get first down on 4th and 2 like he was in the divisional round. I think it could be a good game, man.
Well, I said, I mean, one of the advantages I think they have is, Dan Quinn's going to show up trying to win the game. I think that was not the case this week. It was not the case the week before. I think the advantage of, and I've been talking about it all year, mainly dealing with Detroit. I felt that if anybody was going to beat Detroit, and there were a lot of things as well, the turnovers. Right. But if anybody was going to beat Detroit, they were going to have to match their aggression. And he did. And he outdid their aggression. And they won the game. Again, that's not the only reason, but it's a big reason.
Yep.
So he's going to show up, and that already gives them an advantage over the Rams, who played it very cautiously, which is dumb to me, and the Packers. But just from a talent perspective, I don't think they're there yet. I think they've done, I think the best job, if you, almost every position, some of them are ex-Eagles. Marcus Mariota as a backup quarterback, Austin Eckler at running back, Olamide at receiver, Zach Ertz at tight end.
How about Zach Ertz? Just keeps making
that dude's awesome. By the way, awesome player, awesome person. Can't be happier for him. Andrew Wiley's been there, so they have it up. Defensively, obviously Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, people don't like, but he's done a tremendous job. Now they brought in Lattimore in the secondary. They've got a veteran in almost every position group that has sort of helped the younger guys. So I think he's built the right way. But I just don't think they're as talented as a typical NFC Championship team.